Praise Jesus.
Oh man. Okay, so I got the poo.
Oh boy. Okay. I guess we'll begin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales from the Fic, episode 8. Our topic today is Sonic, and with me today is Keith McIntyre.
Yo, mother truckers.
And Thomas Avantas.
I really have to poop, so I hope this doesn't last long. That is non-fiction. That is an actual fact about my life right now. Is I didn't poop yesterday, and I had Indian food, so you can imagine what's going on down there.
It'll just make your story all the more urgent.
It'll be an urgent story.
Yeah. All right. Sarah couldn't join us today, as she explained last week, and Kristen can't join us today because, as I mentioned last week, she has died from the plague. I was also dying from the plague, but then I converted to the Lord of Light, and we've all found the Lord of Light in our hearts because, as we've also discovered, this podcast takes place in the Game of Thrones universe, but in the modern age.
I've never read that.
And well, yeah. So basically, we have all converted to republicanism, and we want to be, the good old GOP, the good old grand old party. And we're going to, from now on, be a very family-friendly show. No swearing, no sex, violence, tons of violence if we want to, but none of that stuff because we have found Sky Jesus, and that lady in the red hair has nice boobs. All right.
His name be praised.
There goes my stupid laugh again. I hate that laugh. All right, so our topic today is Sonic, and I guess I'll start mine, I suppose.
The restaurant or the Hedgehog?
They're both pretty awful.
I just wanted to make sure I wrote the right thing.
That would be a really awkward fan fiction. I love that Mega 64 video where they're just talking about how bad Sonic is while they're at a Sonic restaurant. And they're just using a bunch of doublespeak. I love that.
I've never seen that, but I have written N fan fiction about a Sonic. We'll find out which one after.
Yeah, okay. I'll start this week. The title of my Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction is called Sonic Moon. And I'll begin. Why, hello! I am Sonic the Hedgehog, secretly magical warrior Sonic Moon, defender of good things, says Sonic the Hedgehog. He is wearing a full-on Japanese schoolgirl sailor uniform. Change scene. What was that, Keith?
It's called a seppuku.
Yeah, that thing. Called Kushiwu. Okay, change scene to a large tower in a field. The tower is tall and cylindrical, with a reddish-purple mushroom top and two domes on either side of the base for support. This is where the main villain lives, Queen Robarelnik, which is just Robotnik in a dress. I am the evil Queen Robarelnik, and I'm gonna do a bad on the world, probably turning animals into robots or something. This is done by Robotnik sellotaping batteries and tinfoil to rabbits and skunks. The next morning, Sonic and Shadow are having tea when Sonic gets a call from the mayor. Sonic! The evil Queen Robarelnik has used dark magics, science, and liberalism to turn all the woodland creatures into high-tech robots! Help! Sonic turns to Shadow and says that he has to go get his dry cleaning picked up, and runs away. This is, of course, not the case, you idiots, because Sonic is actually making an excuse so that he can transform where Shadow, his best friend and definitely not lover because that is not God's plan, won't see. Sonic begins to transform, and the theme song plays. Fighting Eggman by moonlight, collecting rings by daylight, always running at not quite the speed of light. He is the one named Sonic Moon. As he transforms, long spools of bandages fly out of nowhere and grab him, just like in Hellraiser. They wrap his arms, head, torso, legs, and especially his shoes, completing the transformation into Sonic Moon. Gah, so edgy, he opined, wrapping a scarf around his neck. He bolts it to Queen Robaronick's tower. Hey, Robaronick, you gotta stop this, man!
No, you idiot! I won't! I'm the bad guy!
Fine, Sonic says. I'll just have to beat you the old-fashioned way. Then Sonic ran really fast to the county clerk's office building. After getting permission from the clerk, Sonic grabbed some stationery and filed a formal complaint to the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. He ran back to Robotnik. Can you hear my dogs barking?
I sure can.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pause this. I'll edit this crazy fucking thing. Give me 1 second.
Please don't edit this out.
Damn.
Please don't edit this out. This is gold. Oh, Keith, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
And are you also glad that you found the light of the light?
Fuck!
That we might need to edit out.
For the night is dark and full of hunger.
Indeed.
Hi.
I haven't had lunch yet.
Please don't edit any of that out. It sounded like horrid animal abuse in the background, and I loved it.
I stamped on the ground really hard so they would like oh fuck. Oh, I can't say fuck. Shit.
We already know that. We already know that our good friend Frankie has killed a dog in honor of Jonathan Holmes. That's common knowledge at this point.
Me or Frankie Vitrello?
You.
Oh, okay. I was hoping it wasn't Frankie Vitrello. He was a Boston Terrier. Boston Terriers are cool.
That is an awesome dog. He has showed pictures of it, and it is red.
I love little Hobart. I'm gonna get a Boston Terrier one day, and me and my girlfriend decided we're gonna name it Hoshi. All right, back to my story. Take that. Yeah, so take that, you scum! Sneered Sonic. Robaronick chuckled.
Well, that's too bad for you, Sonic Moon, because my father is head of the EPA. Idiot, I win!
Dang! Said Sonic, snapping his overly bandaged fingers. But then a mysterious stranger appeared on a rooftop behind Robotnik. Yes, that rooftop was always there. He had a black and red hair, and a tuxedo made entirely out of Band-Aid brand Band-Aids. Who are you, mysterious stranger? Why am I doing that voice? Who are you, mysterious stranger? Gasped Sonic.
I am Tuxedo the Hedgehog, Dishy Dreamboat, and totally not Shadow the Hedgehog,
said Shadow the Hedgehog. Neat, said Sonic. Tuxedo walked over to Robaronick and kissed him on the forehead, but in a straight way, because we have strong Republican values. He spoke softly to Robaronick. My child, give up your life of crime, or face the completely non-violent consequences. I have a gun. Robotnik cried and fell to his knees.
You're right! I give up!
He said, taking the rose that Tuxedo the Hedgehog had handed to him.
I'll free the woodland critters from their iron prisons!
Wow, Tuxedo the Hedgehog, you're so cool and attractive to women, exclaimed Sonic Moon. Yes, but not as cool and or attractive to women as Thomas Avantas, he replied. Yep, said Sonic, he is a lovely boy! And Thomas Avantas lived happily ever after, until one day he coughed into a white, silken handkerchief and noticed red specks of blood in it. He knew then that his days were numbered, but he was still satisfied with having a long, girthy... The end.
I feel if I had to give that a rating, I'd give it a McCain 2016 out of 10.
Brilliant. And now that I don't have to speak anymore, I can just pause whenever my dogs are acting up instead of just beating them on air.
I think you mean mute.
You know what I mean.
Baby.
I'm currently. I would like to point out that in both of our stories, the words "Sonic sneered" shows up.
He does a lot of sneering, doesn't he?
He does. It's just such a great way to describe Sonic talking. I'm so happy about that. I'm also staring at a box of Captain Crunch right now.
That's always a good thing.
It's
There's good literature on the back of that.
Well, the box is red, just like the best political party in the world.
Yeah, the Lord of Light Republicans.
Exactly. The political party God handed down himself to us directly and said, free Americans of their sin and their wickedness and evil. And McCain said, okay.
And as we've established in the regular show episode, God is dead, so basically we just kind of had to deal with that in our own way.
Yep.
Yeah, we kind of had to pick up the pieces.
We all have grieving processes. Some of us cry, some of us weep, some of us vote Republican.
Some of us vote Democrat, and that's definitely wrong forever.
Exactly.
Man, when Obama said that he wanted to support net neutrality, the one thing I was thinking through my mind, man, I better start hating net neutrality now, even though it forwards my values and beliefs.
I am just surprised that everyone seems to be on board when Obama decided to literally force us at gunpoint to sign up for more expensive health care. Literally. Every day. Shows up at someone else's house.
Yeah, he's a fucking prick. Oh, God. I gotta stop swearing.
No. See, you're doing it again.
I hate
Hold
that
back your evil ways.
Even though it's exactly what I want, he quotes from the Bible, and that's not right.
Exactly.
Get religion out of government, except when I agree with it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't actually listen. I'm not actually listening to what Keith is saying. I'm just agreeing, because that's the way we do it around here.
Yeah, just bang your hand on the desk. Just bang your hand on the desk. I'm angry. Gah, gah, gah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with our police.
Oh.
Keith, would you like to go next?
Sure. All right, so this is called Sonic Adventure 2.5. So Sonic is doing his normal Sonic thing, appealing to the youth of America. Hey kids, I'm cool! And with his little totally not gay sidekick, Tails. Oh, I'm Tails, hi! And his totally other not gay buddy, Knuckles. I'm Knuckles, and I like to fist things! And so the three of them are running very fast along a beach when they come up upon a bunch of very pretty young women sunbathing in bikinis. And they're like, you girls have to cover up, put on one pieces, because that's what God wants us to do. And so they're like, no, I like my bikini. And so Knuckles comes up and says, if you don't put on one piece, I'm gonna fist ya. And Tails says, oh, go ahead and give them the fist. And so Knuckles starts chasing after them, fist outstretched. And they run away. And Sonic says, that was a good job, guys! And they go into totally not gay deep kissing. Because of a good job well done. And then they see Robotnik playing a violent video game up in his castle. So Knuckles flies them over to the castle because Knuckles can literally fly in this universe for some reason. And so Sonic and Knuckles go up to Eggman and say, stop playing that violent video game. It makes you violent. And Sonic's like, yeah, it's not cool to play violent video games. And Knuckles is like, yeah, stop playing a violent video game or I'm gonna fist ya. And Tails like, oh, why don't you two just go fuck already? And Eggman's like, I'm gonna play whatever I want because I'm Eggman. And so the three of them fight, and Eggman goes up towards Sonic, charges him with a robot, but Tails knocks the robot off him, and he ends up with his face in the ground at Sonic's feet, and his butt in the air, and then he gets hit with Knuckles' fist attack, and right as Eggman dies from a righteous fisting, he's like, I should have never played violent video games. And Sonic's like, another job, well done. Now Knuckles, come over here, I need that fist. The end.
I like how he just sort of, Robotnik just kind of petered out at the end there.
It sounded like he was a TV being turned off.
He's like, I'll never step. Oh, I love that. That was great. I'm gonna have to censor that naughty word you said, Keith. You got it. That's not cool, man.
It's not cool. It's not cool for God-fearing gentlemen like ourselves.
Yeah. I'm terrified of God.
I have to say, as a fan of your show and listening before, I like how Keith almost sounds just as surprised by his own stories while he's reading it as everyone else is.
Shocked to find out that I don't actually read them.
I've been assuming that for like the past couple of weeks because like half of your fan fiction is
Yes, he's transcribing it from a tome he's discovered in ruins about Sonic the Hedgehog.
They're written on golden tablets that I've put at the bottom of the hat, and I have to stick my face in the hat while I'm reading them.
I completely buy that.
Don't get it, that's a crack on Mormons, because that's how the Book of Mormon was.
When you look in the bucket, does a gold turn out to be fool's gold? Like it's not as advertised at all. It looks worse.
As in the case of the.
If you can't tell, I'm making a huge crack at Sonic Boom for lying.
Yes, the books are advertised to read at 60 frames per second, but they only run at about 20.
And they can jump infinitely.
Wasn't the original author Randy Pitchford?
Yes.
And Knuckles.
He can't hold a pen.
And Knuckles.
Thomas, would you like to,
Can I put a disclaimer at the head of mine?
No,
Sure.
yes.
I would just like to put a disclaimer, and that is, I apologize.
Fair enough.
Completely out of character, I apologize.
What kind of good Christians would we be if we did not have forgiveness in our hearts and then to judge you for the rest of your life?
Am I the only person who titled my story this week?
Oh, I titled mine Sonic Moon.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
I titled mine Sonic Adventure 2.5.
How am I not remembering that you both did that? I don't know.
I also want to put a disclaimer here in the middle of all of this that we can totally make fun of Christians because Keith is a Christian. We've got him covered. Like it's like if we had a black guy in the show, we could make black jokes. That's how that works, right?
Well, I'm Christian and Asian, so I got two of your bases covered.
Well, there you go. I was raised Roman Catholic, and now I'm gay.
Oh, it'd be really funny if that was 100% accurate and I was laughing, and then I just feel really awful about it and I didn't know.
Yeah, that's why Kristen couldn't be on the show today. I told her I'm gay and then walked out because it literally ruins every household and relationship.
I guess this is an instance in where homosexuality has destroyed a relationship. We can cite this now.
This is definite evidence. A podcast about fan fiction.
You had an American life, and then homosexuality and sin ruined it on you. You destroyed America.
Darn.
All right, I think I will quit Stalin and read mine.
Okay. Well, of course you should quit Stalin. He's a communist.
Oh, God darn it. Yeah. My story is titled Live and Learn by Pocky X, based on a true story. Whatever. Sonic and Tails were doing their typical Sunday ritual of going to Walmart to buy all of the ingredients necessary to make chili dogs. I mean, it's not a very long list, but since it's not important to the story, we're just going to ignore that fact. What is important to the story is the fact that at the supermarket, 2 male swans were holding hands while shopping for groceries. Sonic saw this out of this corner of his one enormous eyeball that has 2 independently moving pupils and sneered, "Why can't they just keep their gayness to themselves instead of rubbing it in all of our faces?" Tails, confused by Sonic's statements, responded, "But Sonic, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just holding hands like any normal couple." Sonic gasped at Tails' ignorance. How could Tails, his longtime good buddy, be so ignorant to the word of the Lord? This required immediate intervention. Sonic grabbed Tails by the arm and stormed out of the store, nearly pulling Tails' arm off because Sonic ran so fast, because he's Sonic the Hedgehog, in case you didn't know, Sonic is fast. Once they were back in the car, oh yeah, Sonic has a car in this one. I don't know if you knew that, but in Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, he had a car, so it's that Sonic from this game. Sonic told Tails, "Look, I understand you're young, and you don't know as much about the world as I do, but if you stop playing video games and start watching Fox News like an adult, you'd see that gay people aren't people. They want to destroy this country. It's all part of their plan of ruining marriage." Tails didn't understand what Sonic was talking about, but he didn't argue. He knew better than to argue with Sonic when he started talking about things he heard on Fox News. Sonic always seemed disappointed in Tails, who was also a fox, but didn't watch Fox. Yes, it was logical, but Tails was too busy doing sinful things, like playing lots of video games, except for the Call of Duty ones, which were great and all because they're about how great America is, and they shot brown people. While Tails was lost in thought, Sonic continued, "Because they're basically Nazis, trying to make something wrong right, trying to force everyone else to think the way they do. It won't be long before good Christians become discriminated against, and we're all forced into the gay lifestyle." Sonic realized Tails wasn't listening anymore, but that's okay. He knew he needed to get the ultimate help for this one. Tails had to find out about how evil homosexuality is. Sure, Sonic would sometimes feel the temptations of that life, who doesn't? But it's nothing prayer can't fix. Sonic wasn't always like this, though. He used to lay awake at night, thinking about his tough and well-built friend Knuckles. These thoughts would keep him awake as he desperately tried not to satisfy these feelings. But then he met a new group of friends. He told them about the healing power of the church. And here they are. Tails Tails felt the car stop, which woke him up from his daydream about monster trucks eating deer. When he noticed he was in a very pastel-colored land full of butterflies and happiness. Where was he? He didn't have time to wonder long when he saw Sonic talking to a purple unicorn. Her name was Twilight Sparkle. Twilight seemed concerned by Sonic's words, and she nodded and said, "There's nothing the magical power of friendship can't solve." And with the clap of her hooves, she was almost instantly joined by Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Applejack, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy.
Oh no.
I'm very disappointed with myself that I did not need to look that up to remember all of their names. Suddenly, Tom realized this story is going too long and can't possibly use all of these characters or plot development he had in mind initially because he did 3 Benadryl and he's starting to feel like the universe is getting overrun with characters when it's supposed to be a joke about how going home for the holidays inevitably ends with homophobic rants from his family. So let's just say the ponies used their magic. Actually, well, only Twilight and Rarity have magic powers, so what the fuck do I know? They used the magic to show Tails a slideshow of how Moses freed the Jews from the evil gay Egyptians. And we also have a gay stone. We also have to stone gay people to death, because that's how the Bible passage goes. Yeah, you know the fucking one everyone cites for why gay people aren't allowed? It also ends with you being allowed to stone them to death. They don't talk about how fucked up that is because it's a verse that they're using to justify hatred, and they know it'd be a tough sell if they actually ended it properly. And so Sonic and friends, fuck it, I'm done.
Are you okay there, Thomas?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a meltdown while writing this. I had a joke, and then I realized I didn't want to see it through to the obvious conclusion.
And then you realize the emptiness of the universe and how futile it all is, and you just let it all out.
I guess what they call it, a stream of conscious writing, where I stopped thinking about what I was writing and just started going on a tear. And that's how my story ends.
That is the best story we've had ever. You broke Keith.
I was genuinely uncomfortable about reading this.
I loved it.
It was like reliving it.
The way you were building it up to me was like, I'm not sure I can do this. I don't. Everyone's gonna hate me for writing this, and honestly, you kind of overhyped it.
Oh, it's a shame. I thought I underhyped it.
This became the sonic boom of fan fictions.
And I can live with that appropriately.
Except that this wasn't broken.
It broke me a little.
Well, I'm glad you could join us and basically get on stage and undress for us here, more or less. Maybe one day we should actually do that, but under God's supervision.
Exactly. Would not want to offend anyone with my genitalia.
Keith, do we have any questions?
We actually do have some questions.
Oh,
What?
snap! Man.
All right. From the Shattered group, Sam Forrester asks, "When are you all going to kiss?"
Never, because we'll kiss each other on the forehead when we forgive each other for our sins, and then we'll give ourselves a good old-fashioned Christian side hug.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's worth noting that I was preparing to kiss a lot of people because when I was young, I was actually planning on becoming a priest, and then I discovered pornography.
Nah.
And now you kiss with your whole body.
It's a kiss your penis can enjoy.
Yeah.
What's that? Never heard of that. Indulge me.
All right. Luke Michael LMT.
Oh,
Michael
God.
Timothy now.
He is a sinner.
He is a definite sinner, and he shall burn in hell.
He is a sinner. The Lord of Light will only exist to light his doobies.
And he asked, "What questions? Is it recording?"
I would like to answer this one. Yes.
Those Rugger Burgers at Shattered Elite Plus deleted my questions thread.
I'd like to answer that one as well. Yes.
All right. Thaddeus J. Fluffenstuff asks, "Any fan
I love that guy's name.
Yeah, his name's pretty awesome. Any fan fiction so awfully gross you can never finish?"
Oh, fuck, the Scooby-Doo one. There's a Scooby-Doo fanfiction that I absolutely love. It's so poorly written, and there's just some weird stuff in it. Me and my friends tried to do a dramatic reading of it once, and we just almost couldn't get through it. Oh, God, I should do a Fit Keeper episode for that one. I forgot about it. Thank you, Thaddeus.
I remember reading one, and this was before we did this, before we started doing the show. I forget where it was, but I actually came across a Legend of Zelda fan fiction, which was about Princess Zelda's public execution, torture and public execution by Ganondorf.
Oh my.
That was pretty...
That sounds uncomfortable.
Very. Let's just say it had a very graphic depiction of impalement.
Oh no.
Oh.
Thomas, you have one?
I have plenty, actually, because I have been part of the Sega fan community for a while, so as that, you see some of the worst with that. And for me, the fan fiction that isn't the most uncomfortable is the fan fiction, or the fan fiction that is the most uncomfortable is the ones where the writer clearly put themselves into the story.
The Mary Sue's.
Yeah, as a Mary Sue, and there's so many of those with Sonic fans, though.
Oh yeah, that reminds
Dimension Darkness Way.
That reminds me, the fan art, the show art I'm going to use for this episode, I'm going to look up each of our names plus the Hedgehog and do the image search for that. That's going to be the art for this episode.
Yeah, there's a very famous Sonic one that got really uncomfortable for me, which was Sonic Shoe.
Dude, back in the day, I used to be a very big fixture on the 4chan random board.
Yeah, I've been there too.
I participated on a few raids on CWC.
Yeah, it gets uncomfortable.
I have another fanfiction that I can't get through. It's a Deus Ex like fanfiction. It's like a comedy like fanfiction about a guy who's like the first successful augmented porn star. It was written by this guy named Frank Margarella.
Yeah.
And whenever I try to read it, I just can't get through it because it's basically what I tried to do. It was like maybe a year ago. I tried to write the worst fan fiction I could. Like I tried to write the stupidest thing I possibly could, and I got like 19 pages into it. It's like the longest thing I've ever written in my life.
Oh my God.
And one day I will read it on this show, but not today.
I think, yeah, and this one I just wrote for this show that I couldn't even finish writing. It got terrible. Got too uncomfortable.
But yeah, I mean, like, actually, it's called Cupcakes. If we ever do an MLP fan fiction, somebody's gonna have to read. If we ever do a MLP show, we're gonna have to do Cupcakes.
Oh, you want to know what the name of my Deus Ex fanfiction was?
What?
It was Dickarus, the Saga of Dick Electric.
I can dig that.
Yeah, I can dig
That's
it.
pretty awesome.
Any more questions?
I think we're good.
Oh, no.
I have a question for you guys.
All right.
How do you keep doing this? This is so painful sometimes to write such terrible things. That's the experience I just had this week, though.
I pray to Jesus for forgiveness, and then I'm good. I can do whatever I want after that.
I admire the work you're doing, because I listened to the show, and I was and I was invited, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to be on to do that. And then I tried writing it, and it just went so wrong.
That's generally how it goes for me. Like, I write, like, I don't know what to write, and then by the time it's Friday, I'm like, I gotta write something. So I just start writing, and, like, just stuff happens.
And then it happens.
Like, the last 4 podcasts, like, I don't know how I wrote those ones. For the Spider-Man one, I knew I wanted to have that singing, the Les Mis part in it. I just had to work around that.
Your Spider-Man was a work of art.
I love that episode. This is my favorite one I've done so far. This is either a close second or the best one, depending on how editing goes.
Which I hope that animal abuse stays in.
Speaking of animal abuse, I just kind of want to go over the fanfiction Kristen was going to do, because she was excited to do hers, but she couldn't show up today. Hers was about like a kid who really loves Sonic the Hedgehog so much that he got his own hedgehog, and then he was like really upset that it wasn't like Sonic. So he starts. It's basically about animal abuse and how he's like abusing the animal to become more like Sonic, like putting him on like a treadmill and just putting it on high. Taping him to a ceiling fan to get his spin dash working. Surgically implanting like metal girders into his legs and spine so that he could stand up straight. Painting him blue with lead paint. And when all else failed, like it was like, all right, maybe radiation will help. So she just throws him in the microwave. That was gonna be her story, and she just couldn't. Like, she said she couldn't really build a story around it. And I was like, that's impossible. That's already a story.
That's a story. That's a Dateline NBC special report.
Yeah, but that's how that would have gone.
You could have written it from that perspective too. A special report on a child who murdered its hedgehog.
Tonight on Dateline NBC. Sonic the Kid.
Oh man.
This was a good show. Thomas, I'm so glad you can make it.
I'm so glad to be here, and nice to meet you, Keith. I think this is our first time speaking.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever spoken to you too, Thomas. We've had a lot of chat logs on Facebook before, but never really spoke.
It's been a damn pleasure. I'll be more than happy to come back and pollute your airwaves again.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, for the major, obviously for the major fandoms, we're going to be doing multiple episodes of the same thing.
Yeah, we'll probably get like 20 My Little Pony episodes and maybe 16 Star Wars episodes and.
Well, maybe I can come back and do my original vision for Sonic the Hedgehog, because my original one involved Tails getting his tails jizzed on by Sonic and then having to fly away and spraying jizz everywhere. That was my original vision.
One day we're going to do the Jesus episode. We get every single Christian shattered in on that.
All like 3 of them?
Yeah. I could probably invite my friend Zach Kane to that. I used to work with him. He's a rad guy. He's a pastor, and he's just cool as hell. So I could probably get him in on that.
I think I would be most uncomfortable with that.
Oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Tales from the Fic, Episode 8. I am your host, Frank Margarella. You can follow me on Twitter at Frank Margarella. You can follow my website on Twitter at Turtlecade. You can go to my website, turtlecade.com, if you want to, prick. And with me today was, as usual, Keith McIntyre.
Hey, you can find my stuff at fakespook.com/PreacherCasey or on SoundCloud.com.
Sorry, did you say fake spook or Facebook?
Facebook.
I heard fake spook as well. I didn't even know. I thought that might just be another site that I wasn't aware of.
That'd be a wonderful site.
You can find my Twitter at twitter.com/the Shattered or twitter.com or at the Shattered Human. Yeah.
And guesting today was the wonderful and voluptuous Thomas Avantas.
I am on the internet. You can find me writing stuff and recording podcasts as the mysterious Pocky X on Sega-Addicts.com. You can find our podcast there that I'm on, Sega Addicts After Hours, the Sega Addicts podcast, and Thursday Night Throwdowns, where we stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sega Addicts, and we stream cool stuff like Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax, where I get my ass handed to me. But it's all a good time, and you should check it out, Sega-Addicts.com.
I'm definitely not going to do all the censorship for this. That's too much work.
Yeah, it's for the best. It's for the best of your sanity.
It's pretty fucked.
Royally.
All right, we have a podcast. We did it.
Jesus fucking Christ, we did it.
Hey guys, Frank Margarella here again. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tales from the Fic. Of course, once again, our topic of the day was Sonic the Hedgehog, and with me today was Keith McIntyre and our guest, Thomas Avantas. Music credit goes to various MIDI versions of Sonic songs, and of course, a little bit of the music that we usually get from Kevin MacLeod and his website, which name I'm forgetting now. He's not affiliated with us, people. It's Incompetech.com. That's what it was. And of course, our intro music is Monokuma's lesson from the game Danganronpa. That's awesome, right? I just set up a Twitter account for this podcast, Tales from the Fic. It's at Tales from the Fic, and an email address where you can send us any questions you want. You can do it. I'm not going to stop you. Come on, praise Jesus. Come on, you can do it. It's talesfromthefic@gmail.com. Do it, jerk. Have a wonderful night. Additional music at the ending by JCAU99 on YouTube.com.